Welcome back to my channel. Hope everybody's good. If you are new, welcome. If you're coming back, hello. For those that don't know me, my name is Phemelo and welcome to All Things Told by Me. As you guys can see from today's title, I'll be just giving you guys tips and tricks as to how to work in the hospitality industry in America. So from the title of the video, like I had mentioned in my intro, I'll be doing a breakdown of how you guys can work in the US under the hospitality program if you are in the hospitality field. Like I've mentioned before, I've been working in hospitality for the past 10 years. It's been that long. So I'm just going to, don't mind me, I'm looking down on my phone because I've written down the notes here. So firstly, you need to figure out the kind of program that you want. Yes, it's a hospitality program, but you need to you need to figure out, are you working in hotels? Are you working in a cruise ship? Are you working at a resort? Are you working at an adventure park, at a camp? So once you establish that, that also gives you kind of a vision as to where exactly you'll be going. And then the second thing that you need to also figure out is the kind of department that you specialize in. Like for me personally, I've mainly worked in housekeeping and front desk, but I have dabbled and dabbled in most departments in the hospitality industry. So you must also figure out, are you in housekeeping, front desk, kitchen, food and beverage, waitressing, lifeguard, all these kind of things. So you need to now establish what kind of department that you would like to work in, okay? And then the next step is that you also need to be very mindful of the length or the time you're going to be there for. There's programs that are available for 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, even 2 years. But the thing is, most agencies have 2 visas. H1B1 visa, I think that's the one, H1. If I'm incorrect, I'll put it down here. And then the J1 visa, which allows you to work in the US for a certain amount of time, all according to your agency. And as well, there are a lot of agencies that you can choose from, especially in South Africa. There are so many agencies that you can choose from. I'm going to leave all their names or all the links to their websites in the description box, and I'm going to pop some over here. We have OVC, we have Awesome Travels, we have Epic Exchange. There are so many that you can. We have Workaway, which is really, really popular. All these agencies are all very different simply because they all work with different host organizations, as well as their costing is very different. So what one agency will charge, let's say now they charge $7,000 Rand for a program fee. A different agency will probably charge 2,000 Rand for a program fee, or 11,000 Rand for a program fee. So they're all very different and as well as programs are not the same. Also, it depends if you are going to be on a program where, like for example, the program that I was on a program where it's still hospitality, but the only difference was it was a government program. So meaning that the government loaned me money, which in turn I pay them back during my working time at the resort. So they gave me X amount, they loaned me X amount of money, which paid for my flights, my visa, my program fee. The only thing that I really paid for was an agency fee, which at that time was 7,500. So I paid that, and then so they gave me X amount, and then I paid it back during the course of my work experience at the resort that I was at. And then they deduct that money out of my paycheck. Every paycheck they deduct the amount that we had agreed on out of my paycheck. So it really all depends. And also for a lot of the government programs, you have to qualify, and at times you get nominated by other people. So it really, really, really does depend. But if you go to an agency by yourself, be prepared to pay over 50,000 Rands. And that is just the start of it, no joke. these programs are pretty expensive, but the experience is really, 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 really amazing. You know, you get to work in so many departments. You get to do things that you wouldn't normally do here in South Africa, you know, and it also exposes you to so many different types of working models and policies and principles and procedures and everything like that you will then in turn, if ever you decide to open up your own establishment, or if ever you still decide to stay in the hospitality industry, you can still implement it into your new workforce, or even implement it into your own business. You know what I mean? So that is one thing that I really enjoyed about the programs. And as well as the documents you need. So the most common documents that you need is your passport, your ID, your CV, your qualifications or your education, reference letters, and bank statement. You have to make, when it comes to the bank statement, you must have over 10,000 rands in your bank account, so that when you go for your visa, that they know that you actually do have money to sustain yourself while you are in the States, you know. And as well as it just shows really good record. And your passport, you have to make sure that it is valid, and it should not expire. It should not be expiring 6 months within your program. You know what I mean? Like, let's say you're traveling now in June, okay, and your passport expires in December, but your program is for a year. It doesn't make sense. So you have to make sure that your passport is valid for about 10 years, like normal. And then as well as your resume or your CV, make sure that you do have very they want, okay, if you don't have a qualification, you should have at least 5 years working in hospitality. If you do have a qualification, you should just be working. You should just have 1 year experience. So like I said, I've already had 10 years working experience in the hospitality industry, plus I have a qualification as well. So it does differ. Like I said, some agencies are not the same. They are really not. And when getting placed in the workforce, especially in the States, it's either you get placed in a hotel, just like a regular hotel, like the Marriott or the W or the Regents or the Hyatt, you know, hotels like that, or you get placed in a resort, which is like Kalahari, Great Wolf Lodge, Gaylord. You know, you get placed in resorts like that. Or you get placed in camps, which is like the kids camps, mainly during the summer holidays or the summer break, and then that's only a 3-month program. Or you get placed in a cruise ship. It really depends what you are into or what you are most comfortable with. Cruise ship is mainly for about 6 to 9 months, and then you come home for a break for about 4 months, and then you go back out again. So it really, really depends what you are into. But for me particularly, I was there for a year. My program was for a year, and I was working at a resort, and I was doing a hospitality internship. Plus you also, oh by the way, you also get what is this, a certificate of completion, or just to say that you actually did have an internship here. And they actually give you a breakdown of the departments that you did work in, and they have to give you reference letters. They have no choice. They have to give you reference letters. So it's basically what I did. Spending money or accommodation. So all depending on the state that you're going to be living in. Like I lived in Ohio, so we were, according to my program, we were given an allowance. So they gave us like money to basically just hold us over until our first paycheck, but you are more than willing to top up on already what they've given you. So I had left here with about $500. And then when I got there, I already had accommodation. We had to pay the first 2 weeks of our accommodation until we were able to get our paychecks. And then it also depends on your host organization. Some will say you have to, do the transactions yourself, pay the accommodation yourself, and But with me, I was very fortunate that they took that out of my paycheck. So that literally saved me a trip and papers and everything. So it all depends. And as well as most agencies, they do organize accommodation for you. 90% of agencies organize accommodation for you, and they do tell you within your contract as to how much accommodation is and how often you pay. And some agencies do actually even show you the kind of accommodation that you're going to be staying at. With me, unfortunately, we were not shown the kind of accommodation we're staying at. I was just surprised when I got there, like, okay, it was literally as big as my bedroom here, but anyway, that's not even here or there, but you guys get it. And accommodation really differs. My best friend was living in Texas, Austin, Texas to be quite specific, and she had like a 2-bedroom apartment, really pretty, gym, Starbucks, and everything like that. But her accommodation was about $395 every 2 weeks. So it really depends. But if you have an agency where they say, or if you're on a program that says you have to figure out your own accommodation, then try do that beforehand so that you know exactly where you're going to stay, how much you're paying, and everything, the security deposit, and if you have if it's fully furnished and so forth. And most accommodations do come fully furnished. The only thing that you just have to buy is things that you personally would like your towels, or whatever nitty-gritties that you just want to have, that's going to make you feel more comfortable. And then transport, we were fortunate that, actually the first 2 months we had to figure out our own transport to go to work. Plus, I had traveled to the States when it was winter. It was snowing. So, and there were so many rules and regulations in the town I was living in. So, we really couldn't walk when it's snowing that bad, because you probably might get arrested. So, you have to figure out really, transportation from where you stay to where you work. Some people are really fortunate where they have the property that they stay at and the company that they work at is in the same vicinity, whereas we had to walk a little bit, you know what I mean? But then they were able to organize us transportation, and probably like the 3rd month, that means that now we can travel to work for free. And that was great. But some agencies don't, some companies don't have that luxury of saying, no, you fend for yourself. The things that you're going to experience on the program is also be very mindful. Not all host organizations have hosted South Africans before. Some probably have. Some states probably, have not even seen South Africans before. So you must be very mindful of the experience. And as well as, you're not just going there to work, you're also going there to educate the Americans, or just the people that you're going to be working with, on the kind of country that you're from, and making them understand the kind of country that you're from, and also you get to learn about their country. So exchange that culture with them. And I was super fortunate that every department that I went into, they were very intrigued and they wanted to know all about where I'm from, how I do it, and all these things. So be very open-minded when you go there. I know each country, or people will look at you and come up with their own stereotypes, or Africans are like this, or Americans are like this, or whatever the case might be. Go there with an open mind. Go there to learn, go there to absorb, and also just go there to have such an experience that you're going to be talking about it for the rest of your life. Okay, but that's pretty much the breakdown of the agencies, the trips, how much it costs, and all those things. Like I said, a lot of the things I'll be leaving it down in the description box. So if you guys have any further questions, you can either click on the links of the agencies and ask them yourselves, or you can ask me if you have any further questions. But yeah. And that'll be all for me today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. If you like this video, please give it a huge thumbs up. If you have any further questions, like I mentioned before, just don't be afraid to drop me an email or DM or whatever you're most comfortable with, and I will answer the questions to the best of my ability. But that'll be all for me today. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.